Hey everyone, and welcome to this brand new video featuring all that's new on the LA Metro D-Line extension here on Tiger Rail Fan. First, let's get a look at the route we're going to be following today, which is the 9.1 mile extension on the D-Line west towards Westwood and VA Medical Hospital. We're going to be starting at the Wilshire La Brea station and making our way west from there. But welcome to the area of Wilshire and La Brea, where we can first see a project completed from last episode, which was those palm trees in the median of Wilshire Boulevard. Just in the distance, you can see the subway station entrance for the Wilshire La Brea station. It is actually located directly at the intersection of Wilshire and La Brea, providing convenient transfers to nearby bus routes, which include LA Metro and LA DOT Dash services. You can also see in the distance that there is quite a good amount of density as well. You'll see this with pretty much all of these stations that we look at in today's video, which makes it a great option for a subway corridor, essentially more than doubling the current length of the D-Line. We can also see as we continue walking along Wilshire Boulevard that the trees in the median continue, which I think is an amazing touch, and I wish they did it at more of the D-Line stations. But looking at our right-hand side, let's get a look at what's actually happening here at the construction site. Now, there are two lots here at Wilshire La Brea. The one on the right-hand side that we're looking at now is only for construction staging. The one on the left is where the actual subway station is located. So there is not much happening in the staging area to our right besides the storage of a couple bits of construction equipment. Just ahead, you can see the station entrance, which also has the completed elevators just on the left-hand side of the entrance. You can also see on the right-hand side, if you look closely, the LA Metro bus route 212, which runs north and south along La Brea, which is going to be including several notable destinations, including the B line to the north and the E line to the south. So it's definitely going to be a much higher ridership bus route. Speaking of which, the Rapid 720 just passed us, which is what currently provides service along Wilshire Boulevard. I'm not going to go too deep into those variants of service, but in short, it's going to be most likely discontinued once the entire D-Line extension opens. But something I really enjoy seeing is the presence of construction workers already from the start. It seems like there is an urgency here to get this done, especially just because we have received notification that the project is going to be delayed until winter of 2026. Which is only a few months later. It'll hopefully open in January in 2026. But it definitely is disappointing to hear that news. But I'm at least happy to see that Metro appears to be working really hard on the project right now. But here we are now at the intersection of Wilshire and La Brea. You can see that Route 212 running just past us. And in terms of traffic, while there is quite a bit of cars moving through the area, there really doesn't seem to be that much congestion. And with the lane closures done at Wilshire La Brea, it's good to see that traffic appears to be moving smoothly again, especially on this weekday on Monday around 9 a.m. in the morning. Looking across, we can see that the station entrance and sign are unfortunately in the same condition, and so is the sidewalks across the street as well. They're still coned off with not much happening to them. So I do assume that most of the work here at Wilshire La Brea is happening underground, or maybe they're focusing more on the western parts of the Phase 1 extension. Speaking of which, let's head towards the next stop along the line, which is also in Phase 1 at the Wilshire and Fairfax station. Welcome to the Wilshire and Fairfax station area. We are just finishing crossing Wilshire Boulevard and Fairfax, which, speaking of which, has quite awful ramps over here. It definitely is not ADA accessible. So hopefully that gets fixed soon, especially with this closed off area of the sidewalk directly in front of this museum on the right-hand side. They haven't been doing anything for months, and it's directly in front of the entrance. So I really hope they get that opened up soon. But here we have some methane pipes as well as a sign showcasing where the bus stops are located now for Route 720 and 20. And in short, services have been disrupted quite a bit in terms of stop locations being removed quite far away, especially the rapid bus route. But here we are now at the subway station itself, just past the intersection of Wilshire and Fairfax on the eastern side of the Peterson Automotive Museum. Speaking of museums, this station serves many museums, including installations like the Urban Light, the LA County Museum of Art, as well as the tar pits located a little bit of a walk away. But back to the station's construction here, we can see that it's been cleaned up a little bit outside of the station. There used to be a work table here, but now it is just a little bit of construction equipment just behind the station entrance right there. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and show you a quick before and after, the first one of today's video, to show you some of the differences we've seen so far at that particular entrance. And as you can see, it just seems to be cleaned up a little bit. Not very many changes, unfortunately, but it has only been a month. Looking at the elevators here, there is not much new to report cosmetically, but there is a cart with an open door on the right-hand side of the elevator. So maybe they're using it to take things downstairs. That would be quite interesting. But hopefully we are at that point now where they can begin using things like the elevators, because they're hopefully already complete and ready to work. Just beyond that is really not much. It's another open lot, and I'm really curious what Metro's going to do with that, as we've noticed plenty of open lots throughout the video so far, and we'll see some more as we continue along. I'll point them out. Hopefully we see some transit-oriented development, especially because on the subway station entrance itself, there's not really any density. Now, it is worth noting that the sidewalk is closed just on the left-hand side of that residential street, so we're unable to walk up the side of it this time, but hopefully we'll see that open up later on. In previous episodes, we've seen drilling happen at this part of the sidewalk, so they could be in limbo on that part of the project, and maybe they're waiting for the next step of construction for that. But here we are back in front of the Peterson Automotive Museum, definitely an iconic piece of the local area here. In addition to the museum, I forgot to mention the Academy of Motion Pictures, just on the right-hand side. But something else worth noting is that the street lamp just above was on, so it's good to see that electricity was flowing in that instance. But here we are now walking past Fairfax with a seemingly wider part of the sidewalk with another one of those methane pipes. And because of the gas mixtures that are beneath the ground here, where the D-line's tunneling, those are definitely necessary to ensure safety in the area. And also appears like the sidewalk is wider here than the other side of the street. And it could be because of the need for those grates just beneath us to help ventilate the subway ground beneath us. But now let's head to the next stop, Wilshire, La Cienega. But now welcome to the Wilshire and La Cienega area. We're about to pass by slowly on this bus right here to take a look at some of the exterior changes here at the Wilshire La Cienega station, which you can see now just in the distance. Structurally, everything looks pretty much the same, including the layout of the construction fences. This is where most of the work was being done in last episode, here at La Cienega Boulevard. But we don't really see that much construction worker presence outside of the station. So since we've seen them outside last month, my assumption would be that they're hopefully downstairs in the subway station box itself working on it. There is a couple people out here just walking around though. As you can see, sidewalk is open on both sides of the station construction site, and the lighting was on for the elevator structure. So that is good to see that electricity is flowing through there, and hopefully that also means that the elevator was working. And you can see more construction as we're passing by. I believe it is unrelated to the D-line subway extension, but they were definitely digging beneath the sidewalk and the roadway there. So there is some disruption still if you are walking or driving around the area, especially right here where we have one lane closed just a little far east of the Wilshire La Cienega station. But let's go to the next stop now at Beverly Drive. And now welcome to the Beverly Drive station, which is the first one on the Phase 2 extension of the D-line. For those who are new to the construction update videos, the D-line is broken up into 3 phases, with the first one opening in the winter of this coming year. Phase 2 is supposed to open by the end of 2026, and Phase 3 is scheduled to open by the end of 2027 in time for the Olympics. So hopefully The delay of the Phase 1 extension does not impact Phase 2 and subsequently Phase 3. But now we are here at Rodeo Drive. We're on the opposite end where we normally start. We're starting from the western end of the station. Rodeo Drive was also what the station was originally named, but because its location was closer to Beverly Drive, they've renamed it to that. But here at Rodeo Drive is a very popular upscale shopping area with the entrance just on the left-hand side, on the north side of Wilshire Boulevard and Rodeo Drive. There are plenty of upscale restaurants, very fancy shops, all here for you to shop at. And I believe this is going to be a popular tourist destination as well, just for people to hang out at or even make some purchases to bring back home. But as we continue along Wilshire Boulevard towards Beverly Drive, this is where we're going to see all the construction begin. And trust me, there is a lot happening once more at this Phase 2 station. So with the same assumption I made about Wilshire La Cienega, there's got to be plenty of construction going on here as well. And I believe they're trying to catch this part of the project up as well, so that way they open on time by the end of 2026. Just straight ahead, we can see a large construction vehicle that looks like it's lifting construction workers up to a higher elevation. I don't know why they would be using that. But on the other side of the street, the sidewalk area, most of it is barricaded off in order to make room for some staging area for construction vehicles. You can see that as well straight ahead. However, this first part of closed sidewalk area and the vehicle shoulder area seems to have nothing being done here. And we saw this as a trend in last month's video as well. So maybe they're just saving the spot potentially, but hopefully they're redoing the sidewalk and making the road look nice. Hopefully it's another one of those projects that Metro is working on to beautify the area with the addition of the D-Line subway extension. Looking on the other side of the street once more, we can see plenty of sidewalk closures as well, and we are actually unable to go and continue walking along this area, which is a new development. So we're going to need to go ahead and cross the street here and start following the signs for the sidewalk detours. And a little spoiler alert, it is definitely excessive and the signs can be incorrect. But before we start going by those, here's a look at what's happening behind these parts of the sidewalk closures. This one looks like it's actually useful in the sense that it's got a connection underground in addition to storing various construction equipment and supplies. So now that we're looking eastbound again on Wilshire Boulevard, this is what we can assume is behind these construction walls. Except this one. There seems to be nothing happening here with a silver water hydrant. Interesting stuff, but if you do know what's happening here, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. My guess is that they're most likely just using it to previously store construction equipment, and now they're not using it at the moment. But let's go ahead and follow those detour instructions and cross the street here. As you can see, the density around the area is high as well, even for a touristy area. You see there's offices and even residential areas as well. So this area of the line is not only going to be useful for tourists or shoppers, but it's going to serve the area surrounding it as well. And here's another look at what's happening behind that subway sidewalk construction. Seems like another connection underground, which is pretty cool to see. Something else I also enjoy as we continue walking along the closed sidewalk area is the Beverly Hills logos on the side of the construction fences, in addition to advertisement for the businesses around the area, which have absolutely been impacted by the subway's construction. Although on this side of the street it's not seen by that many people, so it's more important that Metro does it on the other side facing cars. We can also see a construction worker walking just ahead, walking with some kind of construction material, it seems like. But there was a quick look at what was happening behind there, and now directly in front of us is the subway station entrance. Unfortunately, with the sidewalk being closed directly in front of the station entrance, we're unable to get a closer look at what's happening directly inside of the site itself. But we saw that they still had that construction crane, and that it's most likely actively lifting and lowering things down into the station. And we'll see plenty of that later on in today's video, so stay tuned for that. Just ahead now is also the construction office area, but we unfortunately have to cross the street here in order to continue walking along. But looking down here, it looks like the sidewalk is also closed So we're actually going to need to backtrack down an alley in order to continue moving east on Wilshire Boulevard. So keep that in mind if you're planning on walking an extensive distance here in the Beverly Drive and Rodeo Drive neighborhoods. You might be taking some detours, so make sure you have some extra time. So I'll meet you back here at Wilshire Boulevard and Crescent Drive, which is where the construction area begins to taper off and end here. East of Crescent Drive, there isn't much happening in terms of construction, so there is not much disruption over here, luckily. So keep that in mind if you're driving through the area. You may want to turn off Wilshire Boulevard around Crescent Drive, depending on the lane closures that are present for the day. But with that, I hope you've enjoyed the Beverly Drive station area. So let's now head to the Phase 3 stations. Here, starting with Westwood, UCLA. And now welcome to the Westwood UCLA station site. We're here at the intersection of Wilshire Boulevard and Veteran Avenue, which is where the station entrance will be located, kind of on the western end of the Westwood neighborhood. Here we can see through the open construction gate what's happening, and this is going to be our main window looking into what's going on. Here we can see it's mostly the same as last episode, which was a bunch of construction vehicles and equipment here. It does look like there's a crane at the rear of the lot though, which is nice to see. That they are also doing the same thing as Beverly Drive, being able to lift and lower things into the station. I do wish though that we had a better vantage point on the other side to take a look at what they're actually lifting and lowering and to see if we can actually get a look underground. But now let's also get a look at a before and after of the entrance here, which shows that it's mostly the same, just a different configuration of the construction equipment. So at least that's good to see that they've been moving stuff around, which hopefully means steps of construction are being completed and equipment for the next steps are being brought in. There are also some notable buildings around here, including the LA Passport building just ahead, and on the right hand side is also the National Cemetery, which is the home of veterans who are from the area. Looking down in the distance though, we can see, looks like another crane is present, that yellow one in the distance. A lot of activity happening here. Unfortunately, the sidewalk is closed, so we're unable to get a look just ahead at that part of the station. But we can mostly assume that it's pretty much the same, just with, of course, new construction equipment present at the station. Something I also love particularly about this station is the designs on the walls of the construction sites, including great colored advertisements showcasing the station here, as well as the line in general, which is going to be stretching 9 miles of brand new subway, which is certainly a new alternative for vehicles to use. There are also plenty of bus connections here, including LADOT Commuter Express that you just saw, Big Blue Bus, Culver City Bus, LA Metro, and UCLA's Bruin Bus. So there are plenty of transit agencies around here to transfer to. And it's worth noting that UCLA Central Campus is not located too close to here. It is still roughly a little less than a mile away from the station. So it would be quite a long walk, or you could use the Bruin bus services to get you to UCLA. Now we really need a UCLA station on campus though, so that would be super nice and would be part of the Sepulveda line. And if you want to see more videos on that, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. But with that, let's go ahead towards the next stop along the line, the last one, VA Medical Center. And now welcome to the VA Medical Center station site. We're starting here at the intersection of Wilshire and Bonsall, which is going to be a freeway-like interchange here. Despite Wilshire Boulevard being a main road, here it takes an elevation and there are some freeway-like ramps going off to Bonsall Avenue to help speed up traffic in the area. But that's been used as a perfect opportunity to display some public art and murals dedicated to veterans, which the area serves here. This mural on the east side of Bonsall looks new also. Something worth noting too is that they're building a bridge over to Wilshire Boulevard, removing some pedestrian obstacles, which is great to see. We'll get a better look at that in just a second, but essentially it's going to provide much better connections than what's currently present. And I'll show you at the end of the video how difficult the connections can be to the buses. But let's go ahead and look at the station. Looking through this first opening here, we're not able to see too much besides quite a lot of stacked up construction supplies right there. So it's definitely some high value real estate in terms of construction planning. But let's continue looking in at different parts of the construction wall. So it's also worth noting that on the right hand side is a staging area where previously we were also able to get a look down into the subway station. We'll take a look over there in just a second, but let's focus on the main station area for now. This is where the station entrance will be located. Just there, we saw the red elevator that lifts construction workers and lowers them into the subway. You just also saw the big blue bus route 17, which is the only bus route that stops directly at the VA Medical Center. But looking through here, we're able to get a better look at that large gap in the center of the lot, which is where they are currently working on the station box area. Previously, we were able to see the platform, but it's become restricted with each month that came along. So let's go ahead and get a look at what we can see right here. Mostly still just construction equipment, but mainly we can see some scaffolding next to that construction elevator. It truly shows how flexible they are in terms of moving it around for convenient access to the construction lot. Just over there, we can also see some beams going across the subway station depth right there. Not sure what they're for. Maybe they're for support. That is what I would guess as they continue messing around and digging with the subway station box area in order to get it ready to open. We can see a large yellow crane on the right hand side as well, which, as you'll see in just a few minutes, is actively moving. But looking beyond the hole in the station lot is pretty much just more construction storage area for construction vehicles, cranes, and various supplies, including metal beams, which we've seen a lot in today's video. Here is also a closer look at that construction elevator. Looks quite bare to me, and you definitely wouldn't find me going through those or working a construction job like that. But continuing along here, let's get a closer look at the bottom of the station box to see what we can still see. We can see another crane on the right hand side, and we're going to get a look at that in just a second as well. But let's look through this little crack in the barriers here. And wow, they have fully cemented it over and some. They've built some extra metal skeleton framework off the right hand side of that station box covering. And if you look down the center, you're able to see some more construction equipment, most likely relating towards wires and things of that nature at the end of the station lot. Let's take another look through here from an angle, and you can see that the station itself is going to take more of a cylindrical approach, similar to the shape that's been used to bore through the subway tunnels, which, if you have not heard of yet, have been complete as of several months ago. So this is really the final steps, working on the stations just like this one. But now let's get a look at what the station's going to look like. As we can see, the station is definitely in early stages of construction. As a reminder, this is phase 3, scheduled to open by the end of 2027, just in time for the Olympics. And right here we can see that map which the station is going to be turned into, which is a world-class transit hub in my opinion, especially for veterans. It's going to improve so much mobility for them. You can see the station entrance right there, some bikes just next to it, and of course that large escalator leading to the bridge, crossing the on-ramp to Wilshire Boulevard, providing that step-free access as well as a convenient way to get to your butt-connecting bus without having to take the long walk that I'll show you in just a second, but you may have already seen it in some previous videos. But now let's go ahead and cross the street. Jaywalking is legal now in California, but just make sure you're looking in both directions before you commit to crossing the street. So let's look in the other satellite lot of the subway station, just across from the other one on Bonsall Avenue. Located on this side of the station, we can see some similar characteristics, with just a bunch of construction equipment on the left-hand side, with another crane though, so that's notable. But here it looks like it's more of that metal paneling that we've seen on the roof of the subway station box. Let's go ahead and actually look at that area beneath the ground. there is the Metro Rapids 720 going across back towards downtown LA, which is one of the many bus connections also available at this station. But let's take a look through here to see the area below. And we can see here that the station area is essentially covered up as well, except for a small area. So a lot of progress has been made there, luckily. Let's get another look here on the left-hand side before we head on up towards the bus transfer area. Looks like a truck is there as well, but it's pretty much just the same story, construction equipment on that side of the station. But now I'm gonna go ahead and show you the area to get to the bus route. So it's gonna be quite a little bit of an inconvenient walk here. And I'll show you why that bridge is so necessary on the new station project. To the left though, we can see more of some lovely murals that have been made for the VA Medical Center area. There's also a small green area here, which I really wish they would turn into a park or something that veterans and everyone can enjoy. To get to the bus transfers heading east, you're gonna need to walk up this ramp next to the mural, and then you'll need to turn around towards the bus stop. So essentially it's just a bunch of extra walking that I believe is not necessary. And if I was going for that big blue bus route over there, I would have definitely missed it. So at that bridge is going to be a much better way to connect to the buses, and it's going to speed up the walking time, enabling you to make quicker transfers. But let's keep walking on towards Wilshire Boulevard here. At least the sidewalk is wide here, but I'm going to go ahead and cut towards our turnaround point where we're going to be crossing the on-ramp here and walking back towards the bus stop facing where we came from. So here we are now, about a minute walk later. We're able to see the bus stop where the Rapid 720 as well as several other bus routes board. You can also see Westwood in the distance as well. There is a nice median here at Wilshire Boulevard, which is quite nice actually. That tree-lined area. Looks like that is also part of Century City as well, which is a nearby city that is also going to be connected by the D-line extension in phase 2. But look at that, we have some crane movement here. Looks like it's moving some porta potty restrooms around. Not exactly sure what they're doing with that, but it's a pretty random item that they'd be moving around here. They could be relocating it down inside the station, which would make sense as well. So again, just like the previous months, there is a bunch of active crane construction work happening here as well, in addition to the construction worker presence. Just on the other side is where you would board westbound buses. You can see that Rapid 720 skipping that stop there. But in order to reach that area, you would simply walk underneath that bridge that takes you to the other side of Wilshire Boulevard before doing the same thing that we just did, heading up that ramp and then back towards the station. Here are some of the big blue bus routes that serve the area. Here we have Route 2, which goes up and down Wilshire Boulevard from Santa Monica to UCLA, for example. But here is a cool point of the video as well, where we get an overview of the station itself. We can see this true scale of the subway construction project here. It is truly one of the biggest station lots out of all of the stations we visited in today's video. There is plenty of construction equipment, plenty of things going on here. So it is awesome to see that a lot is happening. So hopefully this part will open on time. It looks like within the station we can see there is a truck moving around also, creating quite a bit of a dust storm over there as well. It's great to see all this activity happening pretty much all across the system. It appears like Metro is working really hard to get the project done on time. So I hope you've enjoyed the video thus far, and make sure to stay tuned for more construction updates as they come monthly. If you've enjoyed the video so far, also make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss all sorts of new videos related to the construction of these projects and LA Metro in general. With that, here is a mini compilation of some of the buses that service this area at VA Medical Center. Thank you so much for watching, and have an amazing rest of your day or night.